Hi, Kia ora listeners. Let's Learn Sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me on X or Instagram at Let's Learn Sumo. Also YouTube, where this is restreamed in audio, and sometimes I put up a video episode. Couple more coming yet. If you would like, you can also donate to my Kimboshi fund. The Buy Me a Coffee link is in the comments. It just helps pay some of the subscriptions. Well, the London tournament has finished and can only be described as a raging success of promotion for sumo. Certainly in England, the crowds were very respectful, very appreciative, and very knowledgeable from what I saw. Ura, clearly a fan favourite, and the tournament went without a hitch. I thought they might have been able to change a few things about the before fight session with maybe some jungyo or the comedy sumo, which would have maybe just added a little bit to it. But either way, it was a really well organised tournament. They kept it very close to a normal basho. So let's have a quick look at day 4. We saw Tobizaru rack up 4 wins with a Shitatanage win over Kirishima. And Kirishima looked, let's say, a bit displeased at being Shitatanage thrown down with the inside belt grip by Magashira 14 Flying Monkey Tobizaru. Kirishima did try a leg trip, but Tobizaru got the double inside and used it to good effect, and that put him in contention to make 5 wins on day 5. Wakatakage, he got a belt grip and used it to disrupt Atami Fuji's balance by pulling and then pushing as Atami Fuji got turned and went out a Kuridashi rear push out. The Abi and Tamawashi fight, it had a little bit of feeling as they exchanged a few slaps, and Tamawashi got that win, and Abi was just checking his nose at the end, a little bit of blood there maybe. Hoshoryu Yokozuna faced Komusubi Takayasu. Nearly went very wrong on the Yokozuna. Big touchy eyes Hoshoryu was looking for the belt. He started to drive Takayasu back, almost tripped over his own feet, regained his balance and kept the momentum up and drove Takayasu back and over. Not a lot of resistance there. Onosato, he faced Ayanishiki. Onosato got a belt grip, as did Ayanishiki, but Onosato, he's just bigger and stronger. He controlled Ayanishiki back and out. Looked reasonably fair from what I saw. So day 5, look, I think you could be maybe forgiven for thinking some of these fights have been a bit performative, a little bit easy, lacking in intensity, but I think on day 5, from the fights I watched of day 5, the final day, there were some pretty good fights there. There was a little bit of feeling in a lot of those fights. There was a little bit of pride, and pretty much all of them looked like they were trying fairly hard. The level of intensity just lifted a little bit. Asakoryu took on Koto Eho early in the night, come out with a tachi as quick as a flash, drove a big Nodowa on Koto Eho. He held him there and they struggled as Asakoryu moved to get him over, but Koto Eho just moved to the side and Asakoryu gave him a final push, almost followed him over. Oshidashi there, Asakoryu 2 and 3. Koto Eho with the most incredible Shiko 1 and 4. Sadanumi got a quick Hikiyatoshi win over Shodai. Shodai's feet didn't follow him in his pushing. Hikiyatoshi there. Sadanumi finished 4 and 1. Poor old Shodai 1 and 4. Good win by Takeda Fuji, who we are watching this week. He's sporting that fairly heavily bandaged right elbow. Tsurunumi charged as Takeda Fuji went back to the bales. Takeda Fuji got a good upper body grip with his left hand and slings Tsurunumi around his body and over the bales. Yorakiri. It was pretty good to see because after that first fight, day 1, Takeda Fuji looked like he just tweaked that bicep just a fraction, but he seems to be operating fairly well. I can't say that he put a lot of strength into his right arm, but it still worked for him. 2 and 3 for both Takeda Fuji and Tsurunumi, and he looks like he might be able to fight pretty easily in November, which is good. An excellent thrashing machine action, picture perfect by Daisho over Roga. I think I counted 15 hits to have Roga go backwards and out. He just couldn't put up any defense to that. Hirodumi, he got a really good rear force down throw on Ichi Yamamoto. He got a really deep right inside belt after the initial push, and then he just pulled Ichi Yamamoto backwards, got his knee in the way, twisting backwards knee trip. Kirikaeshi is the Kimarite there. Poor Ichi, he finished with a 0 and 5, Hiradumi 2 and 3. Atami Fuji and Oho was a pretty good battle as Oho used slaps and thrusts to keep Atami Fuji from getting any belt. Atami Fuji was a little bit unhappy about being slapped repeatedly, and he exchanged a few, and they thrusted, and Atami Fuji kept looking for it, but eventually as Atami Fuji was coming around, lost his footing, went down before he could get any grip. It's a pretty good fight, that one. Oho 2 and 3, Atami Fuji 1 and 4. Abi got a tremendous throw on Hakuoho. He drove Hakuoho to the bales with this vicious Nodowa neck thrust, but Hakuoho held and came back and kind of disrupted Abi's plan, but as he pushed forward, Abi grabbed him and thrust him back and over. Suki Itoshi was a really good throw. Like to see that in November. Ura faced Ayanishiki. Now, it's interesting, Ayanishiki, all of his fights in these 5 days, he's had to work hard. Everyone's fought him at full pace and really trying to beat him. And Ayanishiki's shown some pretty good form this week. He's tried a few different things. And tonight, Ura, he faced a bit of a soft touchy eye off Ayanishiki. But Ayanishiki then started firing with some Sapari as Ura went back to the bales. They locked arms. Now, Ayanishiki had Ura's right arm by the wrist. He then pulled it down hard and twisted to his left as Ura then flipped over, entirely landing on his bottom. Kei na Hineri, a one-handed twist down. It was an incredible move, left everyone stunned. Ura was sitting on his bottom. There's a bit of Eastern European wrestling and a bit of judo in that move, and I don't know that anyone else would have come out of that without a broken shoulder other than Ura, who we know is able to flip and turn. So Ayanishiki 4 and 1, Ura 3 and 2, and certainly fan favourite. Tobizaru, he faced Komusubi Takayasu to keep his perfect record, make it to the playoff for the London Championship. Bit of a half touchy eye as Tobizaru tried to keep Takayasu at bay. Now this was a really good fight. I would have expected to see this fight in a normal Yusho. Takayasu got a bit of a grip and tried to get in there. Tobizaru tried to pull him around awkwardly off the grip. It broke the grip, and Takayasu then fired a few thrusts, and Noda was at Tobizaru's face. So I thought he was going to rough him up there. They locked arms, struggled for grip. Takayasu is trying for a left front grip, but Tobizaru kept him off. Tobizaru, he tried a leg sweep but missed. They're facing each other and Tobizaru tried to charge, but Takayasu felt the charge, pulled Tobizaru past him, got behind, and a big okuridashi yeet across the ring gave Tobizaru into the crowd. The first 3 rows got the present of Tobizaru's presence. Really good fight, that one. 4 and 1 for both. So it put Tobizaru out of the championship. Kirishima, he faced Wakataka Kage, a pretty good strong belt battle this one. Wakataka Kage got a double inside. Kirishima had an outside double. Wakataka Kage tried hard to lift Kirishima at the bales, but Kirishima used everything he could to defend and hold himself down to the ground, not let him get lifted. Kirishima used his outside grip to pull Wakataka Kage around, almost got him Kotanage with the belt. He then drove Wakataka Kage across the ring with that Watanage grip, but in the end, Yorikiri is called as Wakataka Kage goes out. Kachikoshi for Kirishima 3 and 2, 2 and 3 for Wakataka Kage. Then to the final match, the 2 Yokozunas, both on 4 and 0. Hoshoryu went in hard, got a left outside and a right inside grip. Onosato drove him hard back across the ring with a right inside, left outside grip. Look, he tried to lift Hoshoryu, but Hoshoryu drags Onosato hard with the belt. It was similar to the one that got Atami Fuji, similar to the one that got Wakataka Kage. It was a sharp pull. It broke his balance enough to get in position at the side and drive Onosato across the ring and out. Okuridashi. Hoshoryu gets the Yusho, or the London Yusho. So then they had the little ceremony. The bird twirler came out. He did his thing. and they had a trophy ceremony. Hoshoryu got the main championship trophy for London. He also got an enormous Hello Kitty plushie doll. The general manager of Kikkoman soy sauce, he got a bit of a cheer when he handed the largest bottle of soy sauce I've ever seen, Kikkoman soy sauce, to Hoshoryu to give him that championship win. A couple of special prizes were given out. The Outstanding Performance Prize went to Tobizaru of his 4-1. The Fighting Spirit Prize went to Takayasu, 4-1. Ura got handed the Technique Prize, to a big cheer for Ura. And then when they announced the Audience Award, pretty much the entire audience went, they were asked who they thought it was, and the big cheer came back, Ura, and of course it was. So he took that little prize as well. There's a final ceremony with all the wrestlers at the dojo came back out in their mawashi. Onosato gave a short but very cute speech in very broken English. So to end the tournament. So for what it's worth, we should give credit where credit is due. Look, whilst regular sumo watchers might have noticed a little bit less intensity in some of the fights and even a bit performative at times, the last 2 days certainly had a bit more aggression from the wrestlers wanting to put on a good show. Hakaku, the president of the Japan Sumo Association, who, I've been a very harsh critic of him at times. He should be congratulated. This has been an incredible success. Mainstream media in the UK and elsewhere have picked up sumo stories. Certainly they've been all over Instagram and TikTok, being tourists all over the place. They love seeing the sumo do the tourist thing. They've engaged with people around the city. They've been happy to take photos, sign autographs. You may have seen the photo of them at the Beatles pedestrian crossing. Also the Buckingham Palace Horse Guards, where we learnt that Hiradumi is useless at taking photos because Oho made him take a photo 4 times before he got it right. Look, in the end, it brought sumo to a whole different audience who may never have had the opportunity to see live sumo due to the distance and ticket availability, even if they did make it to Japan. It shows, finally, that the Japan Sumo Association may even acknowledge that sumo is popular outside of Japan, and hopefully Hakaku tries to incrementally make it easier for those outside of Japan to see it live on a streaming service or television or something. It may prove to him finally that there is benefit to sumo as an organisation to allow foreigners to be part of this magnificent sport. Look, I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a grand spectacle brought to you by some of the best wrestlers in the world in a beautiful location at the Royal Albert Hall. Congratulations to the Yokozuna Hoshoryu, who held up the big Kikkoman bottle, and it was nice to see him out and about and very happy. Those who only see Yokozuna Hoshoryu with his murder face may realise that he's actually a very smiley person. He's always smiling and he's very friendly to all and sundry. So they had a fantastic trip. They're all back to Japan to ready themselves for the November tournament. The Bunskei is out next Monday, out in 1 week. Tune in to a preview episode later this week, I hope, where I will again have a guest to help me analyse where the November tournament might go. I've enjoyed this London tournament, a little bit of extra sumo in between. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Join me again. Hakioi. Let's learn sumo.